can't build anything significant with fear. If fear will destroy whatever it is that you're trying to build.
A double-minded man is unstable in all his ways, and he'll get nothing.
He'll get nothing. So you've got to, even as you are coming together as a couple, you've got to make the commitment to 100% invest in one another.
Hello, Authentic Nation. Welcome to our channel. We are Jaime and Sarah and we talk everything relationships, faith, family, finances, and everything in between.
Excellent. So what are we going to talk about today?
Wow, my king. Today we're talking about success. When success becomes a stumbling block.
Mm-hmm.
We see so many couples. A couple meets from an early, young age,
mm-hmm.
filled with so much ambition, dreams, passion, zeal, energy, and we draw up all these pictures and images and a vision of where we're going. And then after a hard slog, we get there. You've studied, you've gone through school and risen the corporate ladder and accomplished so much.
Mm-hmm.
And then you get there and you forget the person who was with you right from the day when you had nothing. When you didn't have a name, you didn't have the accolades, you didn't have the Bentley, you didn't have the big house, you didn't have the disposable income, and all of a sudden you forget the wife or the husband who stood with you right across the journey.
And I think we've seen that happen a lot of times on our own journey. We've seen couples who do exactly what you've said. They come together, they build something really amazing together, and then somewhere along the line, one of them decides, you know what, I don't want to be in this relationship anymore. They find somebody younger, they find somebody who they think is better suited to their new status in life, and then they get rid of the person that they're built with. And of course, it's normal. It happens a lot in especially in the corporate world.
I guess it's been normalized.
Yeah, it happens all too frequently. But I think what a lot of people don't see is they don't see the many instances where when a couple have built together and one has gone off with somebody else, they don't see what happens when life reverses happen.
Absolutely.
And then the person who was suddenly on a massive high goes back to their original spouse because maybe they lost all of the money, they lost their position, they lost their corporate career, and the new person that they were with suddenly drops them because they weren't really there for them. They were there for the money.
For the title.
Exactly.
For the success.
Exactly.
For the nice house.
Exactly.
The fast car.
And so when those life reverses happen, they leave. And then you find that person now going back to their original spouse. And sometimes they've got a debilitating condition. Maybe they've got a disease that they're not going to recover from. And it's usually that spouse who will then tend them until their final days are up. Because a lot of the times, as you can appreciate, that person still has feelings for them, still remembers where they came from together. And so they are there in their final days. And one of the reasons why I think this is such a great topic, Sarah, is because, when you study the scriptures, God is very clear about what for example, here it talks specifically to men. He always says to us as men that you must never forget the wife of your youth. The reason for that is because I guess in his mind's eye, he always envisaged a situation where we would do exactly what we have done to date. We're in the middle of a 30-year journey where when we got together, we had absolutely nothing.
Absolutely.
And we always talk about that, quite fondly because when I met you, I literally didn't have a bicycle.
You didn't have a bicycle, you didn't have nothing. You had the shoes on your feet.
Yeah. and not many pairs either. Are you
Nothing, no bank account, nothing.
Isn't it funny? Sometimes I look back at some of those times and I look at the pictures of myself and I thought I was in my peak and I thought I was looking amazing. And I look at those pics and I'm like, oh my gosh.
But you were in the peak of your teenage years. You know what I mean?
But it still needed a lot of work,
Absolutely.
And I guess,
you and me both.
And I guess, so on our journey, what we did is we started out with absolutely nothing. And of course, by the grace of God, we've been able to build a family, a life, build business, do all of the things that we do together. One of the reasons why God says that you should not forget the wife of your youth is because God is always about some of the fundamental principles, things like honor, things like integrity, things like also recognizing that God's not so much interested in about you to coin a phrase that the young people use, he doesn't want you to get gassed on where you are today. He always wants you to have a sense of humility and a sense of sobriety. And he always wants you to be honorable to the person that you built with.
Absolutely.
Because one of the biggest challenges, Sarah, in our generation is, people are not as honorable as they used to be. People will very easily just drop somebody on a dime because it's in their personal or it's in their self-interest to do so. So yes, we've built a career together, we built a life together, we built a family together, we built business together, we bought property together, and then I just decide on a whim, because I saw somebody bending in our office and she looked kind of cute, and I just decided, actually I'm going to take her and then I'm going to forget you. God doesn't like that sort of behavior.
Sacrificial love is at a premium nowadays.
Yeah.
Because we have this easy come, easy go, microwave society.
Yeah.
Everything is fast, and so has love and relationships and marriage. They become so disposable. You buy something that you're able to use the one time and dispose of it like a disposable cup. And we're living in a day and an age where people don't understand and appreciate the concept of covenant, because marriage is covenant. When we make those vows through thick and thin, through health and sickness, we make those vows, we write personalized vows, and we make these promises. But it's the realization and the living and walking through those vows that becomes a challenge. Isn't it funny how many times during the low years and the seasons and times of poverty and loss and lack, people will be together and they'll be tight like this, but money comes in and it becomes an amplifier and a magnifier of what's actually on the inside of someone.
100%.
So tell me, Jamie, is money and success and growing a hazard to marriage? Is it actually a bad thing?
I don't think it's a bad thing at all, but I love what you said about it being an amplifier. Because, a lot of times when people go into relationships, sometimes they go into a relationship and they are there not because that's where they want to be. It's convenient, it's comfortable, it's an option, but they're not really invested.
That's right.
And the moment they have options, that's when they serve you notice. Are you with me? So what you essentially were a placeholder. They're using you. A lot of people, especially with young couples, what they do, you look at the cost. I mean, in London, for example, you look at the cost of living together, or the cost of renting property.
It's expensive.
It's very expensive. So what people are doing is they're coming together, they're shacking up because they want to pay the bills. But they're not really invested in the relationship. They're not really invested in the person. And so the moment that they don't have a financial need, they get rid of you and they find somebody else. Are you with me?
That's why it's important to find out, are we in a covenant or are we in a contract?
Yeah, 100%.
Because if you don't have it set out clearly and with clear understanding, then you will invest a great deal of your life for something that actually doesn't pay at the end. We've seen this happen way too many times where people, like you're saying, they shack up, but you actually never really have the conversation.
No, you don't.
And then your other half, better half, your spouse, they grow and they leave you behind and they walk away. We've actually seen sad circumstances where if things are not formalized and set in stone, and you understand that we actually have a covenant, your spouse or the person you were shacking up with, your partner, dies. But because you've got nothing formalized, you've got nothing.
It's terrible.
You've got nothing. You understand? And that 5 years, 10 years, 15 years that you built together have been a waste of time.
One of the things we're really encouraging a lot of the young people that we come into contact with is to encourage them to commit to one another. Because what that commitment does, first of all, I really believe that God sanctions it and loves it. And then he endorses and he puts his blessing on it. The reason why that's important is because we're finding too many instances where people are together for convenience, but they haven't built the right kind of foundation. And so to your point, even when success comes, because they haven't built the right kind of foundation, it's temporal. It doesn't last, it doesn't endure. We're encouraging people, young and old, so it doesn't matter what age you're at, to come into a relationship where you have, like you said, you've had the conversation. Okay, this is what we're looking to build together. The parameters are very clear. You have a long-term objective in mind. It's not short-term benefits. Are you with me? and you want to build something that you can really be proud of in the years to come.
That's right.
So when success does come, it doesn't catch you by surprise. In fact, if anything, it's something that you've been deliberately working on. And when success does come, it doesn't actually destroy you.
That's right.
Because you've been anticipating it, you've been preparing it, but most importantly, you are actually invested in one another. And that's the reason why, even if you are successful in a season and then you lose everything, you don't have to lose your relationship because you're invested in the relationship. And guess what? You can come back together, regroup, recalibrate, and you can actually build it again.
Rebuild again.
Do you see what I mean?
Absolutely.
It's very important.
And I asked the question earlier on, and I said to you, is success a hazard to a relationship and to marriage? And I'm actually going to answer that, because there are certain people with mindsets that if we become successful, our marriage is not going to be able to contain it. But we've got to know that that abundance, that blessing, anything that has God's rubber stamp on it is a blessing.
Absolutely.
So success is a blessing from God. Promotions are a blessing from God. The Bible tells us the promotion comes from the Lord. You understand? He causes us to abound in the blessing. He gives us favor. He gives us all good things to enjoy.
Absolutely.
And so the blessing does not come with tears.
No.
The favor of God does not come with tears. The favor of God does not come with fear and anxiety that my wife is going to leave me, my husband's going to leave me. The blessing of the Lord, the scripture says, makes rich and adds no sorrow with it. So if you're in a place where you feel like you're in a predicament and it feels like your security is at risk, you feel like you're on shaky ground, you need to sit down and have some legitimate conversations with yourself, but also with your spouse, so that you understand where you're going and you don't waste your life. Life is too short to be wasting on something that you are uncertain about. So success in itself is not a hazard.
No.
It's how you handle success, because success is an amplifier of what was already on the inside of you.
Absolutely.
And couples, if you're out there right now and you're dealing with this, or you're now single, or you're now divorced, maybe you were abandoned by your person, what words of encouragement do you have for someone dealing with that season of their life where the success did come, but it ruined everything that they had?
Yeah, those are difficult circumstances. Make no mistake about it, because we've seen people who've done that. You know, they've been left in the lurch when the money came in, and suddenly, you know, they weren't even in the relationship for the money. They were in the relationship for the person, and the person that they were actually invested in has run off, and they're with somebody else, and they're having a whale of a time, and they think they're living their best life. But oftentimes, like I said, those relationships, and it's not every situation, but for the most part, those relationships don't work well. If you're in the place where you've been abandoned, if you're in the place where you feel like, man, look, how am I going to recover from this? I really want to encourage you to recognize that there is a place of restoration and healing that can come even in those situations. If that person was not the right person for you, I do believe that there's always good people out there, you know, the right kind of people. When you have the right heart towards relationships, you will find the right person who will be a good fit for where you are, regardless of what season of life that you're in. There's always a temptation with life to feel like, you know, like I'm in my 40s, I'm in my 50s, I'm in my 60s. I'll never discover the real love again. I'll never find, you know, my true soulmate, if you like. But again, and I'm not just talking theory here, we've seen so many instances where people who've been left in the lurch like that have discovered real love again. And actually they look and they think to themselves, gosh, I thought I was in a great relationship with this person, but they showed their true colors. Whatever was in their heart was amplified, to your point. And now I've suddenly found this person they really love me, they're really invested in me, and they're not interested in me for my money. So don't shut up your expectation. After you've dealt with the initial disappointment and everything like that, you know, dust yourself off, excuse me, and think, you know what, I'm going to find somebody. I'm going to make myself available for the right kind of person to find me and locate me.
Absolutely. Work on yourself, work on the healing, so that when God opens new doors for you, you're actually healed, and you're not trying to process your healing on that other person, or with that other person, or through that other person. Healing does take time. I'm not saying when you meet the next person, your Boaz, so to speak, you'll be completely healed No, but I'm saying work on you now so that you can actually identify when your new season has come. I pray that you find healing. I pray that you find closure. I pray that you find peace and you're actually able to forgive so that you can move on. Because forgiveness is for you. The person who did you dirty, let me tell you something. Sometimes it looks like the people who do us wrong are getting away with it. But one thing that we have discovered in life is that time is one of those things that is a teller, is one of those things that shows and works in our favor in the long run. So success is not in itself a bad thing. It's how we handle it.
It is. And I think we've got to, I'm glad you've kept emphasizing that, because there's nothing worse than being in a relationship with someone, Sarah. You've come together, you know, you want to build something amazing, but there's maybe in one or the other, there's this fear that actually I don't know if I want this, because I want it, but I don't want it, because I want it because I want what it will do for us, but at the same time, I don't want it because I'm afraid that if I do get it, then I'm going to lose the person that I'm in a relationship with. You can't build anything significant with fear. You know, fear will destroy whatever it is that you're trying to build. A
double-minded man is unstable in all his ways, and he'll get nothing.
He'll get nothing. So you've got to, even as you are coming together as a couple, you've got to make the commitment to 100% invest in one another. I've had guys come to me on a number of occasions and say, I don't really want to invest in my wife because I'm concerned if she gets too intelligent or she gets too educated, she's going to leave me. Yeah, but I mean,
that's fear speaking.
That's fear speaking, and so what you've got to do is you've got to go to the base of what that is. Why are you afraid that if she gets educated, she's going to leave you? Because it's inconceivable that you can be in a relationship with someone and you're not trying to make them better, whether it's a husband or a wife. My job is to make you better. My job is to identify opportunities to help you to scale and to level up and to go to the next level. Do you see what I mean? And so if I'm identifying those opportunities and they're coming my way, and I think, no, I'm not going to do this for Sarah, because if Sarah gets really educated, if she looks too good, then she's going to leave me. That's not the kind of mindset that we need to have. We need to deal with the fear and make the proper investments in our relationship.
We've come to the end of our segment, Authentic Nation. Please subscribe to our channel, like our videos, share them. It's awesome to have you guys on here with us.
Yeah, we really enjoy doing these videos. Like Sarah said at the very beginning, we talk about everything to do with faith, family, and finance. We're going to tackle all of those difficult topics. Please share these videos with your friends, pass them on in whichever way you can. We want as many people as possible to benefit from this content.
God bless you.
See you soon.
Bye-bye.